many cheering the arrival of 5G. It seems we're on the verge of the next technological jump. But what will be the effects of this, and could it be potentially harmful? Well, Corey is here to answer those questions and more. Help us understand. I think, Corey, I told you, we were talking about this earlier, that I saw a video of a teacher who they had, she had no Wi-Fi at her home. It was a pretty calm as far as EMFs, and they took her blood and it looked normal under the microscope, the little circles, that's the way it's supposed to look. Mm-hmm. But then she went to school where she taught, and they had just installed Wi-Fi in the middle of her classroom in the roof for all the kids to use and for her. And at the end of the week, they took a sample of her blood, and the blood had coagulated, and it didn't look like the little circles anymore. It looked like it had been cooked, honestly, and they had run together. And I asked you earlier, are you surprised at that? And is this kind of what happens with EMF?
Absolutely. So we did the same studies. There's a movie called Take Back Your Power about smart meters, and they said, well, when people stand 1 foot in front of a smart meter, which is now like a Wi-Fi device off of your electric meter, for 2 minutes, I saw videos showing the changes in people's blood, so I got somebody to prick fingers and to do the same. And we saw the same thing. 2 minutes on a cell phone, 2 minutes near a smart meter, 2 minutes close enough to a router, and I even did 2 minutes, and I personally did all these. So I saw my blood get normal to just really not normal looking in 2 minutes under big power lines. So it's all doing the same thing. The higher frequency stuff causes more subatomic chaos, and so it's just added more than we used to have from just the electrical problems that we had.
So kind of explain to our audience today what is going on in the atmosphere that we can't see, that is radiation, it's almost like being in a giant microwave, right? And people think they're not being affected, but there are how many studies that show we are being affected, and every time we bring more power in from 4G to 5G, we're going to be affected even more.
Mm-hmm. I have cool videos that say, if you can see the radiation toxicity in the air, like you could see smoke coming out of a factory, people would be flipped out because it's just a sea all over the place everywhere. And so it is scary. And there are over 10,000 studies proving that these EMFs are harming people in various ways. And we know, as of 8 years ago, on a cellular level, what's happening. So we know the breakdown within the cell that's causing free radical damage, DNA damage, all kinds of other stuff that can lead to all these symptoms that people are showing. Let me just take you to one of the 10,000 studies, if I will. 2007, the European Union paid over €3 million for 12 institutions, not like one guy in a lab or in his basement like today's, anybody can get on the internet. 12 institutions across Europe to test this cell phone, not this particular one, but cell phones, and see how much DNA damage is happening from a cell phone compared to chest x-rays. It's called a reflex study. 12 institutions agreed that 24, and you're going to say, this sounds unbelievable, like I can't even believe what I'm about to hear. 24 hours on a cell phone had the same DNA damage as 1,600 chest x-rays.
Oh, wow.
So the European Union paid for it. It was done. They published it in Europe, and 40 countries started passing laws banning Wi-Fi in elementary schools. There's some that ban cell phones in schools. Cell towers can't get near schools. There's a lot of other countries that responded to that. But, that's not, you got to find these studies. There's another study done by our government. So our government created the National Toxicology Program, spent over $30 million to study cell phones, 2G and 3G cell phones. Now we're at 5G, right? Mm-hmm. Which mine is. Mm-hmm. It's okay, I got my chip on it.
We're going to talk about the chip later.
But 2G and 3G in rats cause tumors and cancers in rats. There's unanimous agreement in that study, federal study. But you don't hear about it. That ended in 2018. You can look that up too. But when you look up almost any of this stuff, you're going to find discredited. Mm-hmm. Well, $30 million and all the scientists that were doing that study at the time weren't discredited until less, a year and a half. All of a sudden now it's...
Because of 5G and all the advertising.